In the early 2000s, it would take a large studio to create a game. Good computers were still very expensive and not as common as they are today. Thanks to cheaper technology, the equipment needed to make a game is now in most homes. Thanks to this, when someone wants to make a game, they no longer need a big budget or a huge team. Instead, a tight budget and a small team are more than enough to create a great game. Today, indie games are bigger than ever, with hundreds of them being released every year, all with a unique twist. That's why I decided to show you the best indie games of all time today. ASCIIsoft's Katana ZERO thrusts players into a neon-soaked world of fast-paced action and intense combat. With its striking pixel art and stylish visuals, the game captures the essence of a cyberpunk dystopia. Players assume the role of an enigmatic assassin, engaging in lightning-fast battles and navigating morally complex choices. Katana ZERO's fusion of adrenaline-pumping gameplay and narrative depth creates an immersive experience that challenges players to confront their own actions and motivations. Shovel Knight is a side-scrolling platformer developed by Yacht Club Games and released in 2014. The game pays homage to classic 8-bit platformers, featuring a knight who uses a shovel as his primary weapon. Shovel Knight's retro-inspired art style and gameplay mechanics make it a standout title in the indie game space. Shovel Knight was praised for its art style, music, and gameplay mechanics. The game went on to win several awards and has since been considered one of the best indie games of all time. Yacht Club Games has since released several expansions and spin-offs, including Shovel Knight, Spectre of Torment, and Shovel Knight Dig. Anesia, The Dark Descent catapulted the indie horror genre into the limelight. Though small scary games were continually making the rounds, Amnesia's expert take on terror illuminated what amazing and horrific diamonds were lurking in the dark. You creep through shadow-filled stone hallways, controlling a character with only vague recollections of who he is, all the while being hunted by an otherworldly monster. And a sanity mechanic that harms your character the more you look at what's chasing you brilliantly forces you to willfully cower in order to protect yourself. Developed by Night School Studio, Oxenfree emerges as a supernatural thriller that weaves a tale of mystery and intrigue. Through a unique dialogue system, players influence the narrative's direction, making choices that impact the unfolding events. The game's hauntingly beautiful art style and atmospheric sound design immerse players in a world where supernatural forces and human drama collide. Oxenfree's blend of supernatural suspense and character-driven storytelling creates an unforgettable experience that lingers long after the credits roll. You may not have heard of Hoppa Games' masterpiece, but it is without a doubt one of the best roguelike experiences around. Not to put too fine a point on it, but it gives Hades a run for its money, if that says anything. Risk of Rain 2 combines every single aspect of what makes it a game to absolute perfection. From the flow of combat to the item stacking to the music to the map design to the class synergy, everything just fits together. As you go on runs, whether you're looking to just survive as long as possible or you're seeking to rush to the Mithrix boss fight, you become mesmerized by how well it blends into one continuous experience. If you're a fan of the roguelike genre at all and you haven't played Risk of Rain 2, you need to rectify that immediately. Firewatch is a narrative adventure game developed by Campo Santo and released in 2016. The game puts players in the role of a fire lookout in Wyoming who must investigate strange occurrences in the wilderness. Firewatch's storytelling and atmosphere make it a unique and emotional experience for players. Firewatch was praised for its storytelling, atmosphere, and characters. The game went on to win several awards and has since been considered one of the best indie games of all time. Campo Santo was acquired by Valve in 2018, and the team has since been working on other projects. Developed by Motion Twin, Dead Cells redefines the roguelike Metroidvania genre with its fluid combat, procedural generation, and addictive gameplay loop. Players venture through ever-changing levels, battling enemies and uncovering secrets with each run. The game's rewarding progression, tight controls, and satisfying combat mechanics ensure that every death is a stepping stone to mastery. Dead Cells stands as a shining example of the roguelike genre's potential, blending challenging gameplay with a sense of continuous growth and discovery. One of the greatest things about indie games is how often they are unafraid to push the boundaries of what we expect in a game's mechanics or explore stories that usually go untold. 2023's Cocoon doesn't have a groundbreaking story, but it most certainly possesses some mind-bending mechanics. The central focus of the game revolves around the concept of recursive worlds. Your little character uses orbs to solve puzzles, and each orb not only contains a whole world within it, it also allows you to utilize various abilities. Supergiant Games' Bastion emerges as an action RPG that captures the imagination with its dynamic narration, captivating soundtrack, and vivid world. As players explore a post-apocalyptic realm, their every action is accompanied by a narrator who weaves a tale that evolves based on their choices. The game's distinct art style and atmospheric design immerse players in a world of mystery and adventure. Bastion's ability to meld storytelling, action, and immersive world building solidifies its position as an indie game that leaves an enduring impact. Not including one of the greatest games to ever include a time loop on this list is perhaps the biggest sin we've ever committed, but we're rectifying it now. Entire essays could be written on the simple beauty and ingenious progression of Outer Wilds. Your universe is set to die every 20 minutes, so you have that long to explore the various planets in your solar system looking for answers to why your star goes supernova and why you're stuck in a loop experiencing it over and over again. It's the sort of game that if you're not prepared for its type of puzzle solving, it might not click with you, but if you go in with zero expectations, it's the sort of unforgettable gaming experience that astonishes and delights. Outer Wilds is emblematic of the kind of unique game developers can make when they're not necessarily bound by AAA limits and considerations. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a platformer developed by Moon Studios and released in 2020. The game follows a spirit named Ori as he explores a magical world filled with dangers. Ori and the Will of the Wisps storytelling, characters, music, and art style make it a standout title in the indie game space. Ori and the Will of the Wisps was praised for its storytelling, characters, music, art style, and gameplay mechanics. The game went on to win several awards and has since been considered one of the best indie games of all time. Moon Studios has since released other games, including Ori and the Blind Forest. The sheer impact that Hotline Miami had at launch can't be stated enough. Many people argue that this title pushed Devolver Digital to the heights of fame that it currently enjoys, with the techno soundtrack and the pulse-pounding combat making it one of the best high-octane indie games to check out. The story was a surreal experience to behold, featuring many unique characters and obtuse dialogue that kept players guessing about the majority of events that were happening. The presentation, music, and gameplay are three pillars that prop Hotline Miami to a whole new level and make it one of the best games for fans to check out. Developed by Daisuke Pixel Amaya, the Metroidvania Cave Story is hailed as one of the most influential indie video games, a feat that is especially impressive when you consider that it was made by one person. In Cave Story, you play as an amnesiac robot named Quote, aiming to stop the doctor from kidnapping the Minigas for nefarious purposes. While the game has a linear story, it still has elements of exploration through its platforming sections, as you pick up different weapons to help with your journey through the caves. Developed by Innersloth, Among Us ignited a social gaming phenomenon, transforming players into deceitful crew members aboard a spaceship. In this social deduction game, players work together to complete tasks while identifying the imposter among them. Among Us breathed new life into multiplayer interactions, sparking discussions, debates, and hilarious betrayals among friends. Its simplicity and accessibility ensured that players of all backgrounds could join in the fun, making it a cultural touchstone and exemplifying the power of shared gaming experiences. A game with a painstaking amount of effort put into it, Cuphead's attempt to channel the charm of the golden age of cartoons has been nothing short of a massive success. It's clear that this title's incredible art style is one of the biggest reasons why the game was a massive hit. Cuphead is a ridiculously challenging game that demands the player's attention every step of the way. Repetition is key to victory, and players will soon memorize and defeat a wealth of incredible bosses in no time at all. Enter the Gungeon is a Rouge-like, top-down, run-and-gun, similar to games like Robot Ron or Smash TV. There are multiple characters, all with different attributes and skills to choose, with a massive collection of guns to find as you make your way through the game. Each enemy in the game is a bullet of some kind and will fire colorful bullets at you in rapid succession that you must avoid or dodge through with your invincible roll. Once you die and enter the Gungeon, you restart the entire game with none of the previous equipment you acquired. Megacrit's Slay the Spire breathed new life into the roguelike genre with its innovative blend of deck-building mechanics and strategic gameplay. Players embarked on a journey through procedurally generated levels, assembling decks of cards to combat foes and overcome challenges. The game's addictive progression and strategic depth ensured that each run was a unique and compelling experience. Slay the Spire's fusion of strategy, exploration, and deck-building creativity solidified its place as a must-play indie title. Journey is an adventure game developed by Thakima Company and released in 2012. The game follows a rogue figure who must navigate a vast desert to reach a distant mountain. The game's art style and music create a beautiful and emotional experience for players. Journey was praised for its art style, music, and emotional impact. The game went on to win several awards and has since been considered a landmark title in the indie game space. That game company has since released other critically acclaimed indie games, including Flower and Sky, Children of the Light. Lucas Pope is one of the most legendary names who has made the indie scene such a tantalizing prospect to begin with. His work on Papers, Please was an eye-opening affair, although some people argued that the gameplay loop wasn't all that compelling after a point. However, Return of the Obra Dinn makes for a completely different and unique experience altogether. The game's narrative is a complex and engaging one where players relive the moments leading up to a sailor's demise, piecing together the story of the many events that led to the death of everyone on the Obra Dinn. Crafted by Maddie Makes Games, Celeste embarked on a journey of self-discovery and triumph over personal challenges. This platformer captivated players with its touching narrative, following protagonist Madeline as she scaled a treacherous mountain. Precise controls and challenging levels tested players' skills, while the emotional depth of the story resonated on a profound level. Celeste's fusion of challenging gameplay and poignant storytelling served as a testament to the power of video games to explore themes of mental health, perseverance, and personal growth. Limbo is a puzzle platformer developed by Playdead and released in 2010. The game follows a young boy who must navigate a monochromatic world filled with dangers to find his sister. The game's art style, which is reminiscent of a black and white silent film, adds to the game's eerie and unsettling atmosphere. Limbo was praised for its art style, sound design, and unique gameplay mechanics. The game went on to win several awards and has since been considered one of the best indie games of all time. Playdead went on to develop Inside, another critically acclaimed indie game. Team Cherry's Hollow Knight emerged as a masterpiece of the Metroidvania genre, plunging players into a hauntingly beautiful world teeming with secrets and challenges. With its intricate world design, challenging combat, and stunning hand-drawn art, Hollow Knight captivated players with an atmosphere of mystery and discovery. As players ventured deeper into the labyrinthine underground realm, they uncovered a narrative rich in lore and riddled with melancholic beauty. Hollow Knight's unforgiving yet gratifying gameplay and enchanting world design solidified its status as a modern indie classic. Take the classic dungeon crawler, add elements of a rhythm game, and you will have some idea of how Crypt of the Necrodancer plays. There is a dance track always going in the background, and you must time each movement and attack to the beat. Another title in the series, exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, is Cadence of Hyrule. It takes the gameplay found in Crypt of the Necrodancer and brings it into the world of The Legend of Zelda. An indie darling that became one of the biggest titles in the gaming industry at one point, there are many people who still can't get enough of Undertale and its imaginative world. The game is a masterpiece that shows the strengths of indie gaming while simultaneously curbing expectations to make for an experience that is fresh and engaging every step of the way. In many ways, Undertale is the very definition of an anti-RPG that doesn't shy away from punishing players for killing monsters for no reason whatsoever. The unique manner in which it handles its gameplay loops makes it clear why this game was such a massive hit across the board. Developed by Eric Barone, Stardew Valley breathed new life into the simulation genre, inviting players to escape to a tranquil world of farming and community. With its relaxing gameplay and charming aesthetics, players found solace in cultivating crops, raising animals, and forging relationships with the townspeople. Stardew Valley's sense of community extended beyond its digital borders, fostering a passionate fan base that embraced its heartwarming escapism. It became a place of respite, a digital haven where players could embrace a simpler life and bask in the joy of nurturing a virtual homestead. If you are into Lovecraftian mythology, Darkest Dungeon is a must-play. You play through a somewhat typical turn-based RPG that emphasizes the order of your team, with some characters being better in the front, back, or middle, but on top of managing your team's health, you must also manage their sanity. The very sight of the eldritch abominations you encounter will drive your party mad, resulting in their stats reducing. Darkest Dungeon is very hard and will take a lot of knowledge and planning in order to make it through the night. Supergiant Games is one of the best indie developers around, marrying story and gameplay in a truly brilliant manner that makes each one of their games a blast to play through. However, none of their games attain the same level of success as Hades did, with this action roguelike being an engaging tale in every way. Zagreus is a great protagonist who has to break out of the underworld while fighting a wealth of bosses and enemies during his escape attempts. The interactions between characters in the game are handled extremely well, and players love the variations in all these interactions as they make their way through the 4 levels of the underworld. Developed by Marcus Persson, Notch, Minecraft stands as a monument to boundless creativity and endless possibilities. This sandbox game revolutionized the gaming world by empowering players to shape entire worlds from nothing but blocks. From humble beginnings to grand architectural marvels, Minecraft became a canvas for imagination. Its open-ended nature encourages players to craft, explore, and collaborate, fostering a global community that continuously pushes the boundaries of what's possible. Minecraft isn't just a game, it's a platform for creative expression that redefined how we perceive virtual worlds. In Spelunky, you must make your way down a mine, seeing stranger and stranger things as you progress. You are equipped with a limited number of ropes and bombs, which you must use to progress through randomly generated levels that become tougher the deeper you go. Each level in Spelunky has 4 parts. You must go through all 4 parts with supplies 3 separate times in order to open a shortcut to that portion of the mines. However, as the game progresses, it demands that you go through each stage in succession with 1 life to truly beat the game. Playdead's future is up in the air after a rift formed between its co-founders, but players still love the 2 groundbreaking titles that were released during the studio's golden years. Limbo was certainly a captivating title in its own right, but inside upped the ante when it came to how this atmospheric title could approach its gameplay. The muted visuals and brutality of the game made it a poster child of what indie gaming can achieve when it focuses on the right things. It's a great game with a scintillating story that will keep players in the dark until the very end, with both the regular and secret ending giving some answers while raising some questions of their own. Created by Team Meat, Super Meat Boy emerges as a testament to both masochistic challenge and irreverent charm. This challenging platformer catapulted players into a world of intense platforming action, where each level posed seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Yet, the allure of victory in the game's charmingly quirky aesthetic kept players coming back for more, defying frustration and embodying the spirit of perseverance. Super Meat Boy proved that behind its pixelated facade lay a grueling yet rewarding experience that left an indelible mark on the indie game landscape. It's hard to believe that Baldur's Gate 3 is technically an indie game, despite having more love and care put into it than the majority of AAA releases out there. The game is a worthy successor to the beloved Baldur's Gate 2 and arguably surpasses its greatness in many ways. Larian Entertainment deserves all the success they've enjoyed, single-handedly making the gaming majority take CRPGs seriously. This dense world is packed with memorable characters and numerous interactions, reacting to the player's choices in ways that have never been seen before. Braid is a puzzle platformer developed by Jonathan Blow and released in 2008. Blow, an independent game developer, spent 3 years developing the game before its release. Braid features time manipulation mechanics that allow players to rewind time and alter the course of their actions, making it a unique experience for players. Braid was critically acclaimed upon its release, praised for its art style, story, and gameplay mechanics. The game went on to win several awards and has since been considered a landmark title in the indie game space. Blow went on to develop The Witness, another critically acclaimed indie game. So, did you like the games I recommended? So leave your like, subscribe to the channel to follow me, and activate the bell because I post a lot of videos on this channel and you can't miss it. I would like to remind you that in the description we have a list of different products that can make your gaming experience much better. If you want to buy, the link will be in the description. Anyway, thank you very much for following me this far, and until next time, bye.